Hey, this is Upeski on YouTube. Today I wanted to talk about Final Fantasy 15. Overall, just my thoughts on the game. So, if you know anything about Final Fantasy 15, you must know it's a mess. A giant mess of a game. But to me, in that mess, in that storm of just blatant dumb decisions and errors, there's a game that hits hard after you complete it. So ladies and gentlemen, proceed. These are my thoughts on Final Fantasy 15. To begin the video, this game has pros and cons. For what it did right, well, for starters, the fights are super cinematic, making for consistent jaw-dropping animation work that all fits too well with the overly realistic aesthetic. Fights with bigger enemies really bring the scope of the battle to an all-time high by launching the camera in the air, making your team become real tiny next to these giant giraffe thingy monsters. I don't know. Anyways, some boss fights can be very cinematic, like when the Dragoon girl fights you. There's a mid-fight break where Noctis and her fight in the night sky. With all the stars in the background, it just hits me. And that genuinely wowed me so much when it first happened. I put it as probably one of my favorite parts in the whole game. The boss fights are pretty cool, and the scenery around them is always tense, some more than others, but each environment gets the job done. Talking about environments, I'd say the Final Fantasy world is beautiful, and a wonder to explore, day and night, though it is very, very bland. The enemies and lore you can find, as well as for the dungeons around the map, especially the ones in the desert region, were quite a delight for me. The forest area was the peak of my enjoyment from this game. Exploring the forest with your party members, fighting monsters, complaining about the weather.
Damn, this wind's strong. No, my perfectly groomed hair.
And the constant banter just scratches a deep itch in me that I hadn't realized I wanted. The character banter is very entertaining to listen to. Even if most of the time it's a few lines, it all managed to stick in my head and make me laugh a couple times. One-on-one conversations between the characters can be weirdly deep in a game, so silly at times. Like the conversation at the motel between Prompto and Noctis, where Prompto opens up to Noctis about his insecurities and his place in the team. Or when Gladio and Noctis talk after Lucina had died, building up tension not only between themselves, but also between the four. Everything seems to go wrong and it all piles up in a weirdly impactful scene where the four characters you've been traveling with throughout this whole game are now in an awkward state of tension where the ice is very thick.
Coward, shut up! Don't do this! I get it, alright? I get it!
Then get a grip. Pull your head out of your ass already.
As well, conversations between Noctis and Ignis during the cooking mini-quests are also quite entertaining and show their personality through them. The camping is great. It shows how these guys gain their strength back after a long day of adventuring. It also let me take a break from all the stuff this game throws at you sometimes. The soundtrack is some of the best music I've ever heard in a game. Its incredible orchestral work, making for highly cinematic and enticing moments, break the tension of the mysterious otherworldly music. And it slows it all down with quiet, gentle, acoustic songs that give off, relax, it's over. Some of the game's systems are pretty cool. For example, are the magic attacks actually affecting the environment they are in? And that to me was some of the coolest things I had seen in a game. The side quests were really meh, but it did let me spend more time with these characters and explore the world. Though the hunting side quests and the dungeon side quests can be a drag so long, you start seeing gray hairs and wrinkles on your face when the game cuts to black. So, we've all been waiting for it. The story. Here we go. Its story is a really interesting concept, where the prince of a line of 100 kings must become king himself. A story of a boy becoming a man, and the implications that come with it. Like, your fiancé dying, your friend becoming blind, pushing your best friend off a train, and pissing off your guard. Though it is something I can sort of relate to, of course I'm not a prince in a super city that gets invaded by a rival empire, I sure have dealt with pressure about becoming someone who I don't know yet. Or just simply growing up. Expectations drive Noctis' arc, and to me, his story is one of the most compelling in the game. Though, you've heard it from everyone. The pacing of this story is absolutely abysmal. taking you left and right in all sorts of places out of nowhere without explaining why things are happening or what you're even doing. This game has a whole movie so that the story makes sense. The game has zero care in the world for explaining Arden's backstory. They made a whole DLC years later explaining it. And in a nutshell, basically his brother, Somnus, betrays him, and now Arden is mad at Noctis because he was born into the line of kings. All around, I really enjoyed the background stories of each main character we see in the game. As for DLCs, I've played everything except Comrades and Arden's story. The story of the game itself is a lot to cover, but it packs so much that when it ends and you see that last cutscene with the guys camping one last time, it really hits you hard because these virtual non-existent people felt real. And the reality is, they will never see each other again the same after that night. And they accept it and enjoy those last moments together. Moments like these in the game are what made this game special to me. They helped numb out the huge flaws this game had. This game really is special to me, but I replayed the game, and everything I had disliked the first time around just felt charming. What I'm trying to say is that the game felt comforting, getting back into those moments I loved so much from the first time around. And platinum the game as well is just doing everything it had to offer. When I closed the game after everything, I sort of missed it. Something I hadn't felt since beating games like Persona 5 or Final Fantasy VII Remake. It felt like a goodbye. These characters I had spent so much time with were now put away. Final Fantasy 15 is an awesome and awful game, and I think you should experience it.
Night.
We actually did it!
Piece of cake, huh?
After an infinite regression, we arrived at an answer. The turtles all the way down.